You know that feeling when you're trying to control something and the harder you try, the worse it gets? Well, it turns out we've been doing exactly that with farming for decades.
That's exactly right. And it's costing us more than we realize.
Today, we're exploring a completely different approach to farming, one that's less about control and more about relationship. We'll discover why regeneration isn't something we do to the land, but something that emerges when we restore proper connections.
You know, it's fascinating how we've been approaching this all wrong. We've been trying to force outcomes instead of fostering relationships.
Can you break that down a bit? What do you mean by relationships in farming?
Well, think about it this way. In healthy ecosystems, nothing operates in isolation. Everything is connected through continuous exchange.
Like a network?
Exactly. Take soil microbes and plant roots, for instance. They're constantly trading resources, sugars for nutrients, signals back and forth.
That's fascinating. It's like there's this whole conversation happening underground that we can't see.
And that's just one example. The entire system is built on these relationships: plants, animals, insects, weather patterns, even the farmers themselves.
So how does this change how we actually farm?
It completely shifts our approach. Instead of trying to control everything, we learn to observe and respond. It's what some people call land whispering.
Land whispering? That sounds almost mystical.
Actually, it's quite practical. It's really just about developing sustained attention to how living systems respond over time.
But what about science? Don't we need hard data and controlled experiments?
Oh, absolutely. Science plays a crucial role. But in living systems, science works best when it supports relationship rather than replaces it.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Think about soil testing. The data tells us what's present, but relationship tells us how the land responds to different approaches over time.
So it's both and, not either or.
Exactly. And you know what's really interesting? This mirrors how human relationships work too.
How so?
Well, think about trust. You can measure certain indicators of trust, but real trust emerges through consistent interaction over time.
That's a really interesting parallel. It reminds me of that documentary, The Biggest Little Farm.
Yes, that film beautifully shows the journey of learning to work with nature rather than against it.
But this must take a lot more time and patience than conventional farming, right?
It does require patience, but here's the thing. Time isn't an obstacle, it's actually part of the relationship.
What do you mean?
Living systems carry memory. They respond based on history and timing. Quick fixes often create more problems than they solve.
So it's about playing the long game?
Exactly. And when you do, something remarkable happens. The system begins to show its inherent capacity for balance and renewal.
That sounds almost too good to be true. What's the catch?
The catch is that you have to give up the illusion of control. You have to trust the process and be willing to learn from mistakes.
That must be really challenging for farmers who are used to more conventional approaches.
It is at first, but many find it incredibly liberating once they make the shift.
How so?
Because instead of fighting against nature, they're working with it. The pressure to control everything falls away.
But what about productivity? Can this approach feed the world?
That's where it gets really interesting. When relationships are healthy, productivity often increases naturally.
Really? How does that work?
Because healthy systems are inherently productive. Think about a forest. No one fertilizes it, yet it produces abundantly year after year.
That's a great point. But forests take centuries to develop. We need food now.
True, but we can accelerate the process by understanding and supporting natural relationships.
Can you give an example?
Sure. When we support soil microbe relationships, nutrients become more available to plants naturally, reducing the need for synthetic fertilizers.
And I imagine that has ripple effects throughout the system?
Absolutely. Healthier soil holds more water, supports more biodiversity, and becomes more resilient to extreme weather.
That's crucial given climate change.
Exactly. And it shows how relationship-based farming isn't just about food production, it's about ecosystem health.
You mentioned land whispering earlier. How does someone develop that capacity?
It starts with slowing down and paying attention. Notice how the land responds to different approaches over time.
Like building any relationship, you have to listen and learn.
Precisely. And just like in human relationships, trust builds gradually through consistent interaction.
This seems relevant beyond farming, too.
Absolutely. These principles apply to any complex living system, organizations, communities, even cities.
Because they're all based on relationships?
Exactly. And they all require the same kind of attentive presence to thrive.
So, what's the first step for someone wanting to move in this direction?
Start by observing without trying to fix everything. Notice patterns. Pay attention to how things are connected.
That sounds deceptively simple.
It is simple, but it's not easy. Our whole culture pushes us toward quick fixes and control.
So, it requires a real shift in mindset?
Yes, but the rewards are worth it. When we restore proper relationships, regeneration happens naturally.
And that's really the key insight here, isn't it?
Exactly. Regeneration isn't something we do to the land, it's what emerges when relationships are healthy.
This has been fascinating. Any final thoughts?
Just remember, the land knows how to be healthy. Our job is to restore the relationships that make that possible.